You remember, not the moment but the burning, like a cut that remained invisible. You spoke, softly, but clearly, and you immediately sensed that they did not want to perceive it. Your words were ignored, dismissed, belittled, and you stood there, with bitterness on your tongue, with the weight in your chest, with the feeling that silence might have been safer, but something in you knew. Someday it would return, not because you wanted it, but because the truth never disappears. You wondered if you were too sensitive, if your feelings were just exaggerating. But deep inside, you felt that your perception was clear. You saw what they could not see. You felt what they suppressed, and that's exactly why it hurt so much. Your heart was faster. Your soul was further. But your voice was ridiculed. The feeling of not being heard almost broke you. It was like drowning amidst voices that shouted louder but said nothing. You just wanted to be understood, just a sign that someone recognized what you recognized. But instead came the cold smile, the dismissiveness, the silence that was heavier than any accusation, and you kept quiet, at least on the outside. But inside it raged. You told yourself, maybe I'm wrong, but the silence inside you disagreed. It whispered, no. You saw, you felt, you recognized. Then the moment came. Not immediately, not dramatically, but inevitably. Your words came back, not from your mouth, but from their own experience, like an echo that they could no longer deny. Suddenly they stood there, confronted with exactly what you had once said, and they remembered. They heard your echo, even if they did not want to admit it. It was in their eyes, in their silence, in its trembling. You sensed it. You felt the truth making its way back, how the echo broke through their walls, how your voice grew louder inside them the more they tried to suppress it. And there was this moment that only you truly understood. You no longer needed confirmation, because the echo spoke louder than any confession. But remember, the wound was real. The loneliness was real. You suffered before the echo came. You lay awake at night, thinking you were going crazy, thinking no one sees, no one understands. And right there lies the truth of your strength. You endured what others could never have borne. You did not skip over the pain, you went through it. Now you understand it was never your fault, never your hypersensitivity. It was your clear vision, your perception, your truth that came too soon for ears that were still deaf. And the echo, it is not a triumph, it is a mirror, proof that you were not crazy, that your voice was never in vain. You feel it now deeper than then. What once destroyed you became your validation. What weakened you revealed your indestructible strength. You wonder, why did it have to hurt so much? Why did your heart have to shatter first before someone recognized your truth? And yet you know the answer. Because your soul was bigger than their courage. Because your perception went deeper than their willingness to see. The echo returned, and with it came silent justice. Not loud, not public, but in the spaces where only you and your innermost self could listen. Maybe you didn't say, see, I was right. You didn't have to. The echo spoke for you. The echo proved you. The echo healed you. You breathe deeper now. You walk lighter. But sometimes in quiet moments, you feel the shadow of that time. You remember the loneliness, to the silence, to the feeling of being banished in your own clarity. And right there you realize you are no longer the same person. You are further ahead, deeper, stronger. The person who underestimated your words now carries your echo within them. You carry nothing more. You are free. You are the one who spoke, and whose voice can no longer die. And now I ask you, you have known this silence, you have felt this echo, you have survived what others can't even imagine. What have you learned from this echo? Have you ever walked through this darkness? Have you ever heard your own truth echo back after it was banished? If so, then tell it. Have you ever felt such an echo? Say it. Write it, because your voice carries more than you believe, and your echo will become even louder. And yet you know that the echo was not the end. It was just the beginning, because every echo carries a trace back to you, a reminder that your truth could not die. Even when you almost broke because of it, you still feel it. This pull in your chest when you think of those moments. How you stood there, exposed, misunderstood, wounded, and at the same time so awake that it tore you apart. They thought your words were weak, but they were seeds, and seeds do not disappear. They wait, they rest, they sprout when no one is watching anymore. And as time went by, you noticed how their faces changed, how their voices became fragile, how they suddenly felt those shadows you had long described. Not immediately, not all at once, but inevitably. It didn't make you triumphant, it didn't make you proud, it just made you quieter, wiser, harder, and at the same time softer in the place where only you can touch yourself. You remember nights when you almost screamed, but you swallowed it, the trembling of your hands, the burning of your eyes, the pounding of your heart when you looked in the mirror and barely recognized yourself. You wanted to flee, and yet you stayed. You wanted to forget, and yet every memory came back in dreams. You wanted to numb the pain, and yet the consciousness was louder than any intoxication. Why? Because you needed to see. Because you needed to perceive what others refused to acknowledge. Your heart was meant to listen deeper, feel deeper, bleed deeper. And today you realize this suffering has shaped you. It has shattered you, but it has also rebuilt you. From the shards, you haven't emerged anew. You have become sharper. Those who underestimated your words had to carry the echo, but you carry something else. The memory of the silence, the scars of disregard, the coldness of those eyes that saw you but didn't see you. And these scars no longer burn, they glow. They remind you never to betray yourself, that you must speak even if no one listens, that you must feel even if everyone else flees. Sometimes you wonder if you can ever be so vulnerable again, if you can ever speak without walls again, if your heart will ever be allowed to pour out unfiltered again. But deep inside you know, your heart never stopped beating, your voice never stopped vibrating, your truth never stopped filling the space. They underestimated you, but they didn't destroy you. They ignored you, but they didn't obliterate you. They wanted to belittle your fire, but they only poured oil into it. And now you stand here, with eyes that see more than before, with a breath that goes deeper, with a back that knows the burden and stays straight. But feel it once more. Don't flee, don't push it away. Remember the moment when you thought, maybe it was all a mistake. Remember the knot in your throat that choked you. Remember the trembling when you lay alone in the dark. Feel how your heart tightened back then, how your body could no longer hold the tension, how your thoughts kept circling until you thought you would lose your mind. Feel how you clutched at the bedspread just to keep from falling apart. That was you, and that is still you, because every wound has shaped you, because every tear has sharpened you, because every night without comfort has taught you to be your own comfort. And now listen carefully. Your words have returned. They are not just an echo, they are a tremor that shakes rooms, a tremor that tears hearts open, a tremor that awakens even those who thought they could sleep forever. Maybe they never said, "You were right." Maybe they never will say it, but you know, you sensed it. In their eyes, in their silence. In their silence, your echo was louder than any scream, and there lies your truth. You are the voice that does not die. You are the truth that does not suffocate. You are the heart that does not stay silent. Feel it. Let it pass through you. What you once feared as weakness was your unwavering strength. What you felt as a burden was your sword. What tried to break you was only the birth of your deepest clarity. You went deeper than others. You fell harder than others, but you got up, stronger than others. And now tell me, you know this echo. You know this pain. You know the feeling of being laughed at before the truth shows itself. You know the burning of being ignored before your echo tears down walls. Have you ever felt this way? Have you ever seen your own heart banished? Then write it, say it, acknowledge it. As long as you speak, your echo will never die. You feel that the point has come when the echo no longer just resounds. It thunders, it tears down the walls they built. It breaks through the layers they placed between themselves and the truth. And in the midst of this thunder, you recognize something that shakes you to your core. It was never just about them. It was always also about you. Your words were not just mirrors for others. They were your own confession. Every syllable you once uttered was also a message to your own heart. And now it comes back, not as a faint breath, not as a distant memory, but as a storm that rips you open, that forces you to go back into the depths you had locked away for years. You thought it was over. You believed you had processed it. But suddenly, you feel the pressure in your chest again. Suddenly, you feel the trembling in your fingers again. Suddenly, you realize the wound has healed, yes, but the scar carries fire. You go back to the moment. You see the eyes that laughed at you again. You hear the voices that belittled you again. You feel the cold that almost froze you again, and you breathe it in, not to torment yourself, but to finally understand that everything that wanted to destroy you brought you here. Here, to this point where your heart beats louder than any judgment. To this point where your voice sounds deeper than any silence. To this point where your truth not only returns, but stays. Feel it. You have become the echo. No longer the one who begs to be heard. No longer the one who waits in silence for someone to understand. You are the resonance itself. Your breath carries the vibration. Your presence is the noise that no one can ignore anymore. And right there lies the turning point. What hurt you is now your weapon. What wanted to silence you is now your sound. What tore you to pieces is now your whole. You feel that your inner self no longer begs. It no longer demands. It no longer explains. It is. It vibrates. It burns. And anyone who underestimates you now no longer underestimates just your words. They underestimate the power of the echo that permeates everything. You know they will hear your echo, even if they avoid you, in the silence, when they are alone, in the dream, when they have no control, in their own reflection, when they can no longer lie to themselves. Your truth will always be there. Not because you hold on to it, but because it carries you. And as you realize this, you feel your breath change. You no longer breathe heavily. You breathe deeply. You breathe freely, because you know nothing can kill the voice that has once spoken into eternity. You look back and see your younger self, broken, unheard, desperate, and you go to her, you touch her, you tell her, "Your words did not die. They live in me. They live in this echo." And suddenly everything becomes clear. Everything you thought was lost was never gone. Everything you mourned had only been growing in hiding. Everything they took from you is now returning to you. Purified, transformed, indestructible. You are not just the one who survived, you are the one who speaks when others are silent. The one who feels when others flee. The one who carries when others break. And you know that this is not an end, it is a beginning. Because the echo continues. It will reach others. It will travel through spaces you will never enter. It will touch hearts that have never seen you, but they will hear you, they will feel you, they will recognize you. And now you feel your words were never small. Your truth was never weak. Your voice was never in vain. It was always meant to travel through time, through bodies, through souls, through generations. You are the echo that does not die. You are the fire that does not extinguish. You are the memory that no one can erase anymore. And if you become quiet now, you can feel it. It pulses, it vibrates, it lives. Your words do not just come back. They become bigger. They become stronger. They become unstoppable. And while the echo carries you, you begin to understand. Everything you once feared was preparation. Everything that destroyed you was birth. Everything you lost was just the way to what can never be lost again. Now, you are the one who speaks, the one who sees, the one who perceives. And no one will ever be able to underestimate you again, because your echo is already bigger than you. It belongs to the world, and it does not end here. If these words have truly torn you apart, if you have felt your own echo rise within you again, then do not keep it to yourself. Subscribe here because the next video will cut deeper, heal deeper, burn deeper. Write in the comments which echo hit you the hardest, without mask, without censorship, and share this video with someone who has forgotten that their voice still lives. This is not just a video, it is your mirror, and there are so many who need to recognize themselves again.